the opportunities are boundless. This system will prove once and for all that Ohio remains a transportation leader. Transportation development and economic development go hand in hand. And if you look back at history, those societies and communities that have introduced transportation improvement have been the economic leaders.
Roger, you know I take the high-speed rail every day from Dayton. Here, look at the schedule. We could be in Cleveland in less than 3 hours.
You're saying we can get to Cleveland by 1 o'clock?
That's what I'm saying.
We think as soon as people begin to realize how convenient, how clean, how quiet, how comfortably they can travel high-speed rail on this 3C corridor, they will come to use it and use it often.
Did you check Cleveland or Cincinnati?
Right. Like she's going to have the time to drive to Cleveland or Cincinnati 3 times a week.
Take the train.
The what?
The high-speed rail. You can hop a train and be in Cleveland or Cincinnati in about an hour and a half.
I think high-speed rail is a high-speed technology that's going to make us better, going to make us more productive, and it's going to happen.
Well, one of the great things about talking about high-speed rail in Ohio today is the fact that we're probably further along than any other state in the United States toward a high-speed project, a true high-speed project. We have an implementation plan that has been adopted and accepted by the authority, and we're now in the process of trying to put those things together. The additional preliminary engineering, proper legislative authority, developing the final financing, convincing the U.S. government that they really want to be involved, and in effect taking care of all those preliminary things that are necessary now to take a plan and bring it into implementation.
Ohio's initial rail line will be built on the 3C corridor. This railroad corridor begins in Cincinnati at the historic Union Terminal. From there, it extends northward, stopping at stations in North Cincinnati, Dayton, and Springfield. From Springfield, the line heads east to our state capital, Columbus, Ohio. 2 stations will serve Columbus, one in downtown and one in the northern suburbs. The line continues northward to Mansfield and finally to Cleveland. After stopping in northeast Cleveland, the line terminates in downtown at the famous Terminal Tower. This is the first leg of a much larger system which would ultimately serve Toledo, Youngstown, and Akron. Rail lines will eventually extend to New York and Chicago.
In the development of Ohio high-speed rail system, one of the great luxuries we have in this state is the development of suburban stations as well as downtown stations. And we really, in the implementation of this program, can take advantage of both markets. There is a significant downtown market that we should access, that we should actually help focus economic redevelopment and revitalization in the area, because we believe that's very, very important to the development of safe and growing urban centers. But at the same time, we also have the blessing of tremendous suburban markets as well.
Cities are built around railroad stations in Europe. There's no reason why that can't occur in the future in the United States. We know that economic development at the various locations will follow. We just want to make sure that people understand the benefits so we can take full advantage of that opportunity.
The railroad empire in Ohio was one of the largest in the country. Thousands of miles of track connected hundreds of small town stations. Cincinnati's Art Deco Union Terminal represents a magnificent civic achievement. The terminal consolidated 7 railroads and was designed to handle 420 trains or 500,000 passengers per day. Built to serve the heart of Cleveland, the terminal tower has been a significant landmark for 6 decades. Today, the terminal still anchors downtown with its rapid transit station. The terminal tower was built in conjunction with the suburbs of Shaker Heights. Both the terminal and Shaker Heights were components of one large real estate project, which included the vital rail transit connection. The trolley car system was beautifully integrated into the Shaker Heights shopping center. This ideal arrangement of city and suburb was the answer to the transportation problems of the 1920s. This model of traditional urban design is only now being rediscovered by urban planners and architects. The planning and design of Ohio's new high-speed rail system will draw upon the state's rich history of city design.
Anytime that you rebuild your infrastructure, you have tremendous economic growth. The Japanese and the Western Europeans spend 2 or 3 times what the United States does in redeveloping and improving their infrastructure. We need to do the same thing in order to remain economically competitive and viable.
When you talk about a $3.125 billion project, you're talking about a lot of jobs for several years in the engineering, the manufacturing, and production, and of course construction work that's going to be involved in putting this system together.
Last time we spoke, the deadline was on Friday. Yes, I know. Well, things change here in Cincinnati also. Mr. Smith? George. Look, George, my art director just came in. Would you mind going on hold for a minute? Great.
What's going on?
You know the proposal?
The one due Friday?
Yep. Well, he wants it by this afternoon, or at least by tomorrow morning. Now, we can't afford to lose this one. We have got to get this presentation together.
You have read the draft, haven't you?
No. Last time my son was in a school play, and he was the frog.
Well, it's not in bad shape, really. All it needs is price quotes, pagination, color graphics. I have an idea. Tell him that we'll make the presentation this afternoon.
What? Are you crazy? We can't get the proposal together, prepare for the presentation, and get to Cleveland all in one day.
Roger, you know I take the high-speed rail every day from Dayton. Here, look at the schedule. We could be in Cleveland in less than 3 hours.
You're saying we can get to Cleveland by 1 o'clock?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, then all we have to do is get the proposal together.
Let's do that on the train.
Well, what are you going to do about your price quotes and your graphics? I mean, we can't pack up the whole art department and take it with us.
No, but we could bring the portable computer and just make the calls from the train.
Hello, George? How does 1 o'clock sound to you? No, 1 o'clock today. Great. Okay, then we'll see you after lunch. Bye. Barbara? Have a donut.
Americans have begun to recognize high-speed rail as an option that they want. So many people, with the advent of satellite communications and so much more overseas travel, have seen the asset that it can be. And I think anybody who's a proud citizen, anybody who's an American, anyone who's an Ohioan, looks at those opportunities that other countries, major industrial countries have, and say, we should have that too, and we're strong enough, technically astute enough country to have it.
Around the world, high-speed rail is becoming the most popular mode of inner-city transportation. It began in Japan with the renowned bullet trains, In 1958, the Japanese began building their new nationwide rail system, and today it's one of the most successful transportation projects in history. The trains have carried over 3 billion passengers without a single accident. In Central Europe, the French initiated high-speed rail service between Paris and Lyon in 1981. The handsome TGV holds the world speed record at 320 miles per hour. France is at the heart of a new $105 billion railroad master plan. The Community of European Railways plans to lay 4,600 miles of new high-speed track while upgrading another 12,000 miles. Spain is the most ambitious. They are converting their network of wide-gauge railroad tracks to European standards. Britain will finally be physically connected to Europe when the Channel Tunnel is completed. High-speed train passengers will travel from Paris to London in just 3 hours. Germany began operating its new intercity express trains in 1990. In a few years, the ICE will connect all of Germany's largest cities. Around the world, nations are upgrading their rail systems to high-speed standards. Australia, Taiwan, Turkey, Italy, Brazil, and Russia are all preparing to build high-speed rail networks. By the year 2000, most industrialized nations will have modern high-speed rail transportation systems.
The important thing to understand is we don't have to make a choice between technologies. We need to make a choice for a conglomerate of technologies that go together in a wonderful network of opportunities so that all of us have a choice, so that we can drive, so that we can go on high-speed rail, so that we can walk, so that we can ride our bicycle, so that we can go on buses and on airplanes. And all of these are melded into a network that works, into a network that's financially viable, that serves the consumer, and that's us. We need to make sure that when you get off the train, you can get to where you want to go easily, quickly, and safely. And that's part of the planning process that's going on now.
So, Sandy, are you going to be around next quarter?
Yeah, I'll be around. And I'll probably be around the quarter after that, too.
I thought you were graduating.
Yeah, I thought I was, too. I even got that job lined up in Dayton, but I can't get the last course I need to graduate.
They dropped it for next quarter. Have you checked out the other schools in Columbus?
Yeah, I tried Columbus State, Capital University, Ohio Wesleyan. None of them are offering the course.
Well, then hang out another quarter. We'll party. You can find another job.
Kim, I've got to get out of school.
Hey, there's Joey. Hey, Joey.
Hey, what's up, guys? I heard about your job offer, Sandy. Congratulations.
Sandy's not graduating.
I can't get the one course I need. I spent all morning on the phone, and no one in Columbus has it.
Did you check Cleveland or Cincinnati?
Right. Like she's going to have the time to drive to Cleveland or Cincinnati 3 times a week.
Take the train.
The what?
The high-speed rail. You can hop a train and be in Cleveland or Cincinnati in about an hour and a half.
Well, that's perfect.
And you can study on the train so you'll be prepared for class.
Or party on the train and sleep through class.
Right.
I just took the train home to see my parents. Here's a schedule. Hey, I gotta run. How about I call you and we can celebrate your graduation?
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Sounds like you and Joey will be moving at high speeds next quarter.
The marketing of the high-speed rail system is one area where we're really looking forward to working with the private sector. Because although a basic ticket might cost $25 or $50, certainly by using off-peak marketing technique, by using discount fares for both students and senior citizens, we can make high-speed rail development and access affordable for every Ohioan. And we feel it's very important that we do this. By making it economically feasible for people to use the system, we will be sharing the benefits of high-speed rail development with each of our citizens in the state. I think any test of reasonability would indicate that a system that we're talking about with maximum speeds of 185 miles per hour, the latest technology in a very heavily trafficked market will generate more operating revenue than what's needed to meet our operating costs.
The ORO organization, the Ohio Railway Organization, is a private sector partnership of individuals and companies who have invested their own money because they think it's good for them and it's good for the state of Ohio. That kind of partnership didn't exist 10 years ago. Private industry wouldn't be investing their own money if they didn't think it was worth their while. We think this is the kind of element, the kind of reality that pushes this project forward and makes it a new project from what it was before. The federal government is now understanding that it makes sense for them to invest because this particular mode of transportation has such low maintenance in comparison to having to recreate roads so often in the process of using the highway system. So the federal government is ready to invest their money.
Whenever there have been innovations in transportation in the United States, the federal government has always played an important role. An awful lot of federal dollars go into airports, have gone into airports, and will continue to go into airports as they continue to promote that mode of travel. When the interstate highway system was first started, 90 cents of every dollar that was spent for interstate highways was made up of federal dollars. 10% was the local and state share. We don't expect 90-10 money for this high-speed rail project, but we do expect the federal government to be a major partner.
In the next minute, we will look at the historical evolution of Ohio transportation. Waterways were the impetus to Ohio's earliest settlements. The first markets and routes of trade were established along Native American trails. Primitive roads connected developing communities. Steam power increased the movement of people and produce. A huge canal system provided interior access to Ohio's rich farmland. But the railroads delivered the Industrial Revolution to Ohio. High-speed electric traction propelled passengers between Ohio's prospering downtowns. As the airplane was invented by Ohioans, bicyclists and new automobile owners encouraged road paving. The Turnpike introduced Ohioans to the expressway, and a new network of highways then accelerated the suburbanization of Ohio. High-speed rail is the next stage in transportation evolution. The new rail system will bolster the state's economic vitality and will propel Ohio into the 21st century.
The skeptics who oppose high-speed rail development today are using the same arguments that were used against the implementation of the canals in the state of Ohio, or against the construction of the Ohio Turnpike, or of our interstate system as a whole. And those arguments that nobody's going to use it, that only certain people are going to benefit from it. And the tragedy of this is that had Ohio listened to them in the early years, we would still be stuck with the same old transportation that was in use back in the 1800s or the mid-1900s. If we listen to those same skeptics today, we will never have the improved transportation system that our citizens need.
Congress has had hearings repeatedly and consistently over the last 18 months about what impact this has on this country. The Transportation Research Board, the Federal Railroad Administration, and even the latest ICE-T transportation bill says we need an integrated transportation system. And this is one part of what will be a truly great transportation system in this country.
An ethical transportation system conserves resources. It makes wise use of energy. An ethical transportation system contributes to improving environmental quality rather than contributing to its degradation. What we want is clean air and water, healthy forest, unpolluted soil, a space-saving infrastructure, and above all, safer transportation. We can begin to build a network of trains to provide clean, fast transportation without fouling our air, clogging our cities, or destroying our environment. Trains are the technology of the future. Trains powered by electricity would do more to cut oil imports than any other single act Washington could take. No means of transport is more ecologically beneficial than a high-speed rail system. If there were a time to suggest that Ohio needs an electrically powered high-speed rail system, that time is now.
I'm sure that Ohio could get along, as could California, Texas, and Florida, without high speed now. But there's no question that congestion on our highways is increasing, that pollution from the combustion of sulfur fuels and fossil fuels is contributing to our environmental problems. There's no question but what our downtowns need an economic stimulus. And as a result, if this is going to be a good solution 20 years from now, why not start? Get people involved when we can truly benefit. And Ohio maybe could be one of the first in the entire Western Hemisphere to have such a project. I think we'll all benefit from that, and I'm looking forward to working with my colleagues to make sure that it happens.